Once again, this is going to be recorded. We'll distribute it out to you, but please feel free to interject and watch all the way through here live. That way you can ask questions when you want to. But appreciate everyone's time. Like I said, it's going to be relatively organic. I'm not going to go into a PowerPoint presentation, not going to go into a whole slurry of stuff. Y'all want to see what the product looks like, what it can do, so let's do that today. So we are going to go ahead and start with the ServiceDesk solution. We offer basically two solutions that are seamlessly integrated. One's going to be our ITSM, the ticketing system. Now, we're going to speak to this on a couple of different levels. We always talk about ITSM because that is a very specific type of tool. Now, the beauty of an ITSM tool is it's backwards compatible to fulfilling service for any department within your organization. If you are supporting your external customers, that's not a problem because that's more of a basic ticketing system. Whereas, as you folks know, if you're looking to deploy this as ITSM, it tends to go a little bit further. You can get more ingrained in service level agreements and tracking technicians' work time, associating requests with assets, and then there is the whole ITIL box that we can open up as well. So, typically for customer support, you don't need to worry about what's an incident, what's a problem, what's a change request, what's a service request, what's a configuration item, what's a CMDB. So what I want to do is we're going to certainly focus quite heavily on the IT side of things, but I do want everyone to know this is a true multi-tenant solution, meaning any department can utilize the system. If you need to fulfill service, if you need to answer questions for people, that is what your job is, then it can be handled in here. I'm going to use the word tickets generically, right? I'm not going to say whether if it's an incident or a problem or a change request. Not going to go there. Okay, we're going to call them either tickets or requests. And the content of that particular ticket in the end is, think about it, it's really irrelevant. It's somebody requesting service. And that particular service request needs to go to someone who has the skill set to fulfill it or to answer the questions. That hopefully is automated, which of course can be in InvGate, ServiceDesk. That once that ticket has gone to a person or a team who can resolve it, there should be some sort of a closed loop communication so that everyone that's privy and part of the ticket has a single point of communication. Now that the conduit may be different. You may be emailing, but that email should go in and append to the ticket itself so that you don't have a separate thread of communication. Any approval processes that are required. Hey, I need a sign off from so-and-so before I can do this. That should be within the actual ticket itself. Not a problem too. So I just wanted to mention that if you've got a facilities team, if you're doing customer support, this is cake. So what we're going to focus on and show you is what all of the really cool things that we can do in the way of IT service management as well. Now, I always walk a fine line when I do our demonstrations between showing you things that you may not want to implement yet, or you may feel, we're not going to use that right now. Well, I'm going to walk that line because I want to show you where we differentiate from the other usual suspects. And I also want to show you that you cannot outgrow our solution. That's one of my major goals. Whether you actually use something like our gamification right out of the gate, no worries. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Every feature that we see here is in one set of code, if you will. You receive all the features all the time with your license. So everything you see, it's not a pricey add-on module or anything to that effect. It's included. So, all right, enough chitty-chatty here, and let's go ahead and start to dive into the product. We're going to look at the ticketing system, for lack of better terms, our ITSM solution, and then we're going to look at our asset management briefly today. But the primary focus today is going to be the ticketing system. Now, I stall out once again right here on a login screen, but that is for me to tell you, okay, here we are, we're looking at a browser, correct? That's going to be the ultimate end user experience for everyone. It's going to be browser, or potentially through email. We do have email to ticket conversion, so if you've already got support at lined up, and you still want to allow your end users to submit tickets that way, not a problem. The other thing worth mentioning as well while we're here is we do offer the ticketing system as a SaaS hosted solution or an on-premise. So the feature set's the same, the code set's the same. You can have this there on your servers, or you can allow us to host it out in our Amazon clouds, all right? So worth mentioning there as well. Okay, so we are here with a login screen. Still sitting here looking at it. My apologies, I promise it's important stuff. There's going to be a number of ways that you can interact and engage and authenticate with the system. For your internal users, we've got LDAP, Active Directory, Open LDAP. We've got all that for authentication, so nobody needs to remember yet another username and password. We also can turn on one switch to turn on single sign-on, and that's going to work on both your Windows and your Macs. I'm here on a shiny Mac, love them or hate them, but it's also to prove that we're not just a Windows-only type of operation. Our asset management discovers Macs, Linux, all flavors of Linux, as well as Windows servers and workstations as well. I don't have single sign-on turned on because I'm going to be doing a little bit of creepy role play here. I'm going to actually log in as Emma Miller, the end user. This is going to be somebody who has a problem, has a challenge, has a request, and needs it fulfilled, answered, whatever, fill in the blank. As far as logging in as well, just a last little touch for your external customers, you can have them do a sign up, for their own. They can fill out a form and create an account that way. We can also turn on Google authentication. That's great for customer support for people who are just not in some big huge customer database. So they can just log in through their Gmail credentials. And we also have Office 365 login credential availability as well. All right, Terry, let's move on. Login screen. Emma Miller, this is going to be Emma's self-service portal. Okay, we're trying to make this thing look familiar, look easy to use, but still be powerful without being intimidating. So this is, again, the end user who is having the problem. We'll use the classic, I can't print, or I can't access some service of some sort. So that is what this particular portal looks like. It's we've got some large navigation icons across the top. We've got this big red bar here that I'm sure your eyes have been drawn to. That is not by accident. We have our knowledge base section here, as well as Emma's open tickets, so she can review and see if there are any updates to any tickets that she has submitted. So back to the red bar. This is where you can push in or display any breaking news or announcements that you might have. In this case, it's IT related. Hey, there's a maintenance break on the Exchange server that's happening next Sunday. Emma can click on this to get more information. And if my handy little tool's working here, yep, my little spotlight, she could also follow this piece of breaking news. And there could be multiple breaking news in here, but she could follow this if this impacts her daily business and operations, so that she will receive updates via email, as well as if she closed out this particular notification, it would reappear if there were any updates to this particular piece of breaking news. Quickly worth mentioning as well that you can also bridge in, if you will, any breaking news and announcements via our open API. So if you've got any external systems that maybe are tracking whether there are outages here or there, or if you are a school system and you've got a weather, some sort of a weather monitoring solution, so that you could actually push out, hey, we're going to be closed due to inclement weather, whatever it may be, those can get pushed out through here. Now, and bear with me, folks, I am going to spend a little bit of extra time here in this self-service portal because because a lot of what we'll see here will translate over into the agent or technicians portal as well. But I do think it's important, so I will show this off. And there's a couple of ways that you could push people into the system. You could push them directly into the knowledge base in order to do some self-resolution first, or you could push them right into tickets, whatever you want. In this particular case, we're pushing them into a multi-view here. Okay, so as I mentioned on the left side here, we do have the knowledge base. This can be a raw keyword search of your knowledge base articles. Let's go iPhone VPN. So that's going to search through the content of all of the knowledge base articles, as well as the subjects and so on and so forth. And here's one, it's setting up a VPN on a Mac mobile device. And not to go too far down the rabbit hole of knowledge base articles, this is more just a little proof of concept that you can stylize your knowledge base articles with large, bold print, outbound links, inline screenshots, virtually any HTML tags that you want, you can do. You can also cut and paste text from PDFs and websites. It works very well by cutting and pasting into your knowledge base articles. But I show this almost to stand a little bit on my consultancy soapbox too, is to say, make your knowledge base palatable and digestible. I'm guilty of being very ferret-like. I need screenshots and stuff like that. So you can certainly stylize and make your knowledge base very engaging is probably the word. So you can see there's a section here of top ranked articles based on a 5-star system. And I just want to show you one that I happen to have out here just to kind of show off a couple of other things that you could do. And again, more of a consultancy, best practice-y type offering here is to actually put YouTube videos in here. There's a wealth of knowledge that's out there. It's royalty free. I always joke none of the toilets in my house would be working if it wasn't for YouTube. So you can certainly engage and bring in any pieces of videos that are streaming online. It's as simple as pushing in the given iframe code that YouTube offers or Vimeo or whatever. And you could do stylized text all around this, but it's more of a, hey, think about using videos for your knowledge base articles as well. So enough about the knowledge base. Let's have a look a little bit over here on the ticket side of things. It looks like Emma has 4 active requests in there. It's true. So our math is working here. And just as you're used to seeing in most of your apps and on your mobile apps, they have that badge counter, right? So in this case, it's very familiar to Emma. Okay, here's a red and it's a 1, so there must be something going on. Yeah, okay, there was one update made to a ticket. So she can actually see what's been updated instead of having to click through all of these or click through her email looking for notes that have come to her as well. And again, no script here. So as I talk, it makes me think of other things that I haven't mentioned yet. One's going to be fully aware that some people are portal people. All right. And I've made that up, a portal people. I don't, they just don't mind going into a portal, updating tickets and doing whatnot. Then there's also non-portal people. Totally get it. They could care less about coming in here. They don't want to, quote unquote, learn a new system. The good thing is we're aware of that at InvGate, and throughout the life cycle of a ticket, the parties of that particular ticket will be receiving any updates to tickets via email. So if there was an update to one of Emma's tickets, she'll receive an email update on that particular ticket, about that particular ticket. Within that email, of course, there'll be a link back into a particular ticket, which we might as well click into one now while we're here. And but if she was not partial in going into the portal, she could simply reply to that email. That email will go back into InvGate, and it will get appended to the appropriate ticket as a note or conversation in the ticket. So we are within a ticket right now, and just because we're talking about the conversations, if you've never seen InvGate before in your entire life, you know exactly what's going on here. If you were Emma and had never been into this self-service portal, this is conversation going on between people. This is a knowledge base article that John Thomas pushed into the conversation. There's a couple of other people chatting. And this goes back to where I had mentioned earlier about walking that fine line between showing too much, because it is difficult. Yeah, I never want anyone to walk away going, really loved it, just wish it had this, and it's just something I didn't happen to show you. So what we can also see here is there's a large focus on collaboration within InvGate ServiceDesk. Now, again, this is exaggerated. We have got a number of people engaged on this ticket. That is probably not what we would typically see, but in this case, we've got Emma, who is the end user or the customer or whatever terminology you are used to hearing. We've got Terry, who is the actual agent. Terry's the owner of this particular ticket, but that doesn't mean he's the only one who can do anything on this ticket. In this case, we've got 4 other people collaborating on this ticket. Again, like I said, overkill, proof of concept, but you do have those capabilities of bringing multiple people on the ticket and not playing hot potato with the ticket. I need John to do something on this ticket. Then, so I shift ownership over to John, and then John, needs Daniela to do something, shifts ownership. No need to do that. It's my ticket, and I just want other people to assist me on it. So, enough about that. Some of the more of the anatomy here of a ticket. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. We've got a subject line for this particular ticket. We've got a category or a service catalog category that's associated with some pretty standard fields here, like status, priority. I'm not going to go. All the systems have these. No reason to spend much time on here. For Emma, who might be the portal person adding a note, you just click here and you type away just like you're adding a comment to a blog or an article or updating Facebook or whatever it may be. There is nothing strange to 95% of all web users these days that's going on here. You can attach files, and I'll show you one other really cool thing that mostly your technicians are probably going to be doing, but I'll show it to you now because I'll probably forget to show it to you when we're in the tech portal. But if you've got a snippet screenshot type of a utility like I've got here, and that saved that little square to my clipboard, I, as either a technician or in this case Emma, if I needed to just show you a screenshot of something, I could just paste image and hit the paste key, and bang, it would actually paste in my screenshots or whatever they may be right there into the ticket. So that's a very slick feature. I wanted to show it to you. Emma probably, and I feel like I'm always picking on Emma, I really do, but Emma's probably not going to use this feature as much, but like I said, this feature is also available to the technician in the technician's portal, and I will forget to show it to you, so I'm doing it now. A couple of other little bits. Again, this is a ticket that has probably more moving parts than one typically would, but I want to show you all the cool stuff. So we can actually relate tickets to other tickets, and in this case, this particular ticket is associated with a couple of assets. These could be hard assets, hardware, software, cupcakes, whatever you want. There's CIs if you want to go down the ITIL path, but we're associated with this ticket's associated with a workstation of Emma's as well as SAP financials. So you can see all that goodness there. So, all right, that's the kind of the anatomy of a ticket. Let's move along. I want to show you what it looks like from Emma's perspective on how to actually create a ticket. All right, so I clicked on New Request, and I'm presented with some categories that have potentially have subcategories. These are completely customizable. You can outlay these however you want. You can have as many categories and as many subcategories and subcategories and subcategories as you want. Again, I don't recommend going this deep with your subcategories. You might spook the end user into feeling like they're going to submit this into a black hole because they've chosen the wrong one, but it's to show you can go very, very granular. So at its simplest, what does a form look like for Emma to fill out? At its simplest, and I'm just going to go into hardware, and let's see, a screen and peripherals issue. You click next. At its simplest, we've got just free-form subject, free-form description, basically email. This, I know all the solutions say you can be up and going in a matter of days or hours or whatever. You can really, truly get up and going in a matter of minutes if you just want to allow them to enter subject and description. But as you know, people will kind of drone on about whatever in the ticket and not provide you with the information that you actually need to solve it. So that said, how do we lead this horse to water? I'm going to go change the category because I'm going to cheat because I know where there is a type of form that will actually lead a horse to water. So if somebody's got a traditional printer issue and they know it's toner, they can go like this. And now the form has changed a bit. We've got a nod to ITIL here where impact times urgency equals the priority in the background. So we're asking them, who is this impacting? All right, this is a custom field. It's impacting my entire department. Well, okay, that's interesting. It's not just impacting you, so that's going to change probably the priority in the background. So it's impacting my department. And we can also let Emma choose the urgency. And this is why I don't like putting this, again, putting my consultancy hat back on, is boom, they all pick high, don't they? If all tickets come in as high priority, they might as well all come in as low priority, because there is no sense of urgency or priority. But anyways, to jump back off of that soapbox, now we can also see in this description, where there was just a free-form text box for people to just hack away at their keyboard, it is no longer that way. We have a template built into here. And in this case, it's asking for a printer location. Is it making noise? You know, is it a black toner that you need? I'm just basically showing off some of the field capabilities that you can have on your custom forms. Not a problem. All right. So that is one way for it to look. Here's another little thing that's worth showing off is, as Emma or as your end users are typing, I know a couple of keywords that'll trigger it. We're actually going to be presenting to them knowledge base articles that are a real solid fit. Now, this is like right up in your grill. You can't really overlook that this happened. Something has changed on the screen. It's going to intrigue the end user. They click on it, and bang, it's the YouTube video on how to change out that toner cartridge. Now, in InvGate style, we've got large call to action. There's no way to mess this one up. Knock on wood and never say never, right? But no, you know what? I watched the video. I still don't know how to change the cartridge. I still want to file the request. Or you know what? That did solve my problem. Click. And we get a digital high five, and everybody goes about their business without having to interfere with your service desk. So that's a little bit about how, submitting tickets, just as one last little proof of concept as to how the self-service portal can be used. I told you it could be multi-tenant, and I do mean it. This is where somebody could request a cleaning service within the organization, or a furniture move, or a question about their vision plan, right? Again, the content of the ticket doesn't matter. The content of the ticket could be, I can't print, or the content of the ticket could be, I can't flush the toilet on the 3rd floor. It still just needs to go to the appropriate person to get it solved. Hopefully with, whether implicit or explicit service level agreements, you could have those engaged. And like I said, that closed loop communication. All right, and one last kind of one just to kind of proof of concept as to some of the different fields that you could have populated on the screen. Multi-select here, this was a vacation request, which is kind of cool. That's, you don't usually typically think of pushing through a self-service portal, especially IT, but you can request vacation through here. We actually have a customer a couple of weeks ago said that they actually schedule patient surgery through it. So that's really, really cool. So like I said, the possibilities are kind of endless. It's service or a question or whatever it may be, and it needs to get fulfilled. You can certainly have date fields on here if you wanted to. In this case, it was when is your start, and the end date of your vacation. You can actually even hunt down users in the system. So, if your Active Directory actually has people's managers in there, we'll actually pull that in, and we can actually do automated approvals and push this out to Emma's manager automatically, because we know who her manager is through Active Directory. If your Active Directory's not current on who people's managers are, it's not a big deal. You could just pop on screen here a field that lets them go pick their manager. My manager is Daniela. And now that will actually send off to Daniela an approval request, which actually literally can put the ticket on halt until Daniela says, yes, I approve this vacation, or no, I don't. So you can get extraordinarily robust with your workflow. And we're going to look at our workflow manager as well. It's graphical. It's very, very, very slick. And all configuration within our system is point and click configuration. You do not need 2 dudes in a suit from InvGate to come deploy this. You do not need to contact InvGate to add a new category or subcategory to the system. You don't need us to do anything. We're there for you for sure. We can schedule some time to look at this, that. We've got a whole host of how-to videos out there of how to configure this, that, and the other. Very wealth of information. Of course, we have our own knowledge base. And then finally, we eat our own dog food, and we use InvGate ServiceDesk as our ticketing system. So if you need to reach out to tech support, you could certainly create a ticket. That's going to be the fastest way to do it. I'm preaching to the choir there. All right, so we have gone on about the self-service portal in length, so let us log out and log in as Terry the technician. Okay, so we're going to log in. Looking at the clock here, we should be good to go. See this little green bit right there? Boom, it just kind of went into there. Hopefully everybody can see the full screen, but there was a little green number there that went into this other number. This is our gamification, okay? We were the first vendor to put gamification into an ITSM solution. There are articles about that. And of course, there are articles on the benefits of gamification in general. In our system, just to kind of define gamification, how it works in our system is your technicians or your agents or your problem solvers in general will earn points for doing various tasks within the system. And it's the point system is completely set up to your liking, whether if you gain a large amount of points for doing this or a few amount of points for doing that. That option is yours. So, for example, in this case, it says an article was marked as helpful 5 minutes ago, and I earned 30 points. Well, let's think about that. When we were role playing as Emma, she saw that YouTube video and said, "Kudos! We got our digital high five." That answered the problem. That was a knowledge base article that Terry wrote. And I earned 30 points because somebody marked it as helpful. So what that does in reality is it creates incentive for me to create more useful knowledge base articles. Now, whether that is for me to, pun intended, game the system and earn points, or whether it is because I truly want people to have very helpful knowledge base articles, doesn't matter because the goal was to create helpful knowledge base articles. Now you can see I earn different points for doing various things within the system. Replying to a ticket just gives me a point, so on and so forth. But it is not all rainbows, puppies, and unicorns. You can lose points for various items in the system as well. So there is negative reinforcement. If you breach your SLA, if your solution was rejected, so on and so forth, you can actually lose points. And you can also see you can earn badges along the way. These images are just ones that we uploaded. You could upload whatever images you want for the badges. They could be inside jokes, whatever it is. But what you do is you actually can send your technicians on quests. So in this case down here, I've got one called SLA Ninja. And I'm 20% complete. And what is it? What is it actually telling me? It's saying, you know what, Terry, if you don't breach your SLAs for a month, you're going to earn the IT Ninja badge and 5,000 points towards your score there. So that's going to create some incentive to keep my SLAs in check, and also to create healthy levels of competition. You can go see how you're stacking up against your colleagues. James has me by a bit here, and it looks like our system admin is going to get fired tomorrow. He's got not doing so much on the points there, but that's our gamification. I always liken it to, it's kind of like dill pickles. You either love them or you're, I'll just pick it off to the side. Yeah, I get it, but no thanks. It's included in the system. You don't have to pay extra. You can turn it off, turn it on, but everyone who deploys it absolutely adores it. Okay, so in the portal itself, what have we got going on here? We've got a couple of tabs here that we can navigate around if we've got permissions to. I'm on the requests tab right now, and I'm in the dashboard. So I've got dashboards here, which we'll talk about. We can go over here to the solutions where the knowledge base is. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. It's going to look real familiar because it looks like what Emma saw. Now, keep in mind, your knowledge base articles, you can mark the visibility on them as well. So you can start to build your internal knowledge base as well for technicians only. If you've got a knowledge base article of how to reboot the Exchange server, you probably don't want your end users having access to that. Not a problem at all. One other note is probably worthy of mentioning is that your technicians, Emma could as well, but you can actually favorite your knowledge base articles. So that is very slick as well. Your go-to ones that you always come back to. We've got a reports area here, and just in case it slips my mind, we've got a whole whack of KPI reports that you can have right out of the box. and we've got our custom reports, which I want to show you as well. Kind of looking across, okay, the administrative area, this is, you know, kind of where the man behind the curtain pulling all the knobs and switches are. It's all very intuitively laid out and very easy to access and all point and click, as I had mentioned before. As we continue looking across screen, we've got a search bar here. This is a federated search. So you can search by people's names, and that'll search the system for people with Emma in their name. You can search for groups of people like VIP, you know, if you've got a group of VIP members, if you've got external entities associated here, we've got Apple, let's see what else, or just a ticket itself. If you have the ticket number, you know, if you're on the phone and somebody says, hey, regarding ticket 480, okay, well, I can type that in, and but I can also do keyword searches as well. So you'll notice I type in the word iPhone. There's no groups called iPhone. Thank goodness there's nobody's named iPhone. There probably is in the world, but nobody's name's iPhone. So it says search within requests. So now that's exactly what it does. It will go out and find and bring back all the tickets that have the word iPhone in it, and you could dwindle that down to just open tickets or just closed tickets as well, or search within this search. All right, so very cool. That search bar is wonderful for your phone-ins. Yeah, hi, this is Emma. Okay, I don't know who you are, but okay, I found you. I'll click on your name here, and now I go to Emma's profile. I can see she thinks fairly well of us. She's got 4 out of 5 star customer sat from us. She has 4 open tickets. There they are. Now I can review those to make sure that she's not shopping our service desk, you know, send an email in, then go through the portal and then call. Yes, there are those people. You probably know them well. All the contact information that we have is in here. I could start to create a ticket straight from here basically on Emma's behalf. So when we're doing that phone in, we can start that ticket from there. I can see all of Emma's assets in here as well, all of her workstations, printers, so on and so forth. And so what we can actually do from there is, if this was a phone in and Emma's saying, hey, I've got this problem, it's got this big long error, it may be easier for us to say, you know what, how about I remote in? Okay, yeah, that'd be great. So what I can do is click on the details of that workstation right there, and now we're going to get all of the details of this particular workstation. The entire audit history of this workstation is here, from the day it was first auto-discovered, the day that blacklisted software was automatically removed. It looks like RAM was added at this particular time. It changed locations, it changed owners. All that information is captured here within the system. And again, this is just the easy access point, right? You can, of course, go into the assets portal itself and deep dive across all assets within the system. But this is for troubleshooting on a ticket. Again, we haven't left the ticketing system. We can engage in a remote desktop control session straight out of the ticketing system. So this is going to be the magic mouse version of it, if you will. Emma's going to see her mouse move around. So you don't need to create weird backdoor admin accounts on your workstations. It looks like Emma has 8 pieces of blacklisted or forbidden software on the workstation. That's not a good thing. We can take a look at that. It looks like she's got 2 pieces of licensed software on the workstation. And we can actually block and unblock USB ports. Now, this isn't going to keep Emma from using her mouse, but if Emma's exiting the company, we might want to block the USB ports on her workstation so that thumb drives don't mount to that workstation and take intellectual property with Emma. Again, picking on her again. It looks like the warranty is expired on on Emma's workstation, so it's going to be on us to fix it. I could send this to a repair status so that we're tracking how often, how frequently workstations are going into a repair status. That's great because you can run a report on this workstation and show, look, this thing has gone, it's been in repair 24 times in a year, and we have identified it as not an end user problem. In our opinion, Mr. or Mrs. Check Signer, it's going to be more cost effective to replace this workstation rather than repair it yet again. Now, briefly jumping through here, you can see some other at-a-glance information about this workstation. We've got all the hardware information on it, including how much RAM there is on it, and how many banks there are, and what type of sticks of RAM are in there. So I can actually see from here, you know what, if we're getting performance issues, there's actually still two banks open up that we could slap some more RAM in. So I can see that without having to go down there, get under the desk, and unscrew the case on it. Or if it's a laptop, even worse, right? So I can see networking information. I could, if I needed to grab the MAC address for anything, bang, I could do that, or the IP address. All the software on this particular workstation, I can actually see it. I can see if it's on a watch list or a blacklist, if it requires a license or not to be running, and how frequently or infrequently it's being used, maybe for some license reallocation. Again, you're going to be able to run full reports across your entire organization for underutilized software and stuff like that. We're just looking at one particular workstation. This is just to kind of show you what you're going to be able to obtain and what you're going to be able to data mine and run reports across. I can see how the hard drive is partitioned and how much free space there is to kind of prevent some forest fires. Hey, time to dwindle down your iTunes library, folks. Operating system details, make sure they're on the right service pack, so on and so forth. Again, for just quick troubleshooting, this is what I want to do. Boom, boom. I want to see, okay, you're up to date there. If I got to take this thing down, what's it going to impact? Well, okay, probably not much. It has a relationship with a PDA, whoever says PDA anymore, but a PDA, a mobile phone, a couple of IP phones, and whatever a Balanza is. Not a clue, but it's associated with it. I can see the quick financial details here. I can see the invoice number, when we purchased it. It looks like we're actually leasing this particular workstation for, God, I hope that's not per month. You could actually bring in depreciation rates, and we'll do the math on it if you want. And this, you can actually say this one's being leased and when it's going to expire, and warranty information, all kinds of goodness you can do in there. And then from the setup side of things, I can actually push out MSI files and EXEs, whatever I've got kind of bundled up and good to go to push out to the organization. I could do that straight out of the ticketing system here. So very, very slick. All right, so that's a solid nod to the asset management portion of InvGate, but we're going to go back to talk a little bit more about the ticketing system itself. So we're going to go to requests. We're going to go to the dashboards. Golly, I could spend 20 minutes on dashboards alone. The dashboards themselves are not just kind of token pretty things that marketing likes to take screenshots of. They are very interactive, very modern in feel. You can zoom in on data. These are completely made up. The actual content of this, what we're displaying here now, you can put as many widgets on here as I edit this one. You can move them around, add new rows of dashboard widgets. The configuration themselves, you can make it 3D or not 3D, but who in the world doesn't like 3D? And configuring them just as a little proof of concept here, not to go into this. If you wanted a column chart instead, or a bar chart, or an area chart, whatever it may be, good to go. And here's the different measures, or the different attributes of a ticket that you could report on. The different various answers to the tickets, approvals, assignment changes, escalations. I'm not even out of the A's yet. I'm in the C's. You can see I'm only like a third of the way through. These are true reporting tools, and it's just the dashboards themselves. So now the cool thing is also, and again, they're interactive. I can click. Let me see here. I can show you a different dashboard here. The SLA dashboard. We can see where we're breaching SLAs or not. So you can create multiple dashboards if you want. This is your work in progress dashboard. If you want to see all of my problem tickets that are out there, and then I could go into the medium priority ones, and it'll actually bring up those tickets, and I can actually click into them to get more details. So they are very, very robust. But I want to get beyond that. I want to go to a section here. There's a couple of other queues where your tickets lie. This one's called My Work. And again, trying to make things intuitive. I'm always a little facetious when I do come here. I go to My Work, and potentially I have two things that I need to do. One thing that I need to prove, maybe there's 8 things that I need to assign to people. Maybe there are 4 updates to those 8. I don't know. It is possible that there are 2 things that I'm collaborating on and that I'm potentially being alerted to 18 things here in the system. Again, being facetious, we're trying to just, there's a lot going on, right? There's always a lot going on in the system, and we're trying to bring all of that data to you in something that's very digestible. And this is one method of doing that. And you see this is assign. Now we do have full auto assignment logic in the system. So based on the different thresholds and different attributes of a ticket when it comes in, it goes to IT security, or it goes to facilities, or it goes to customer success desk. And it can go to a group of people and sit there in a cherry picking queue if you want. Or it can get assigned to the coordinator of a group, which I happen to be the coordinator. That's why I have 8 things to assign, because I need to dole them out specifically rather than doing some sort of automation. We can also do the automation. We can do round robin so that the ticket comes in, it gets assigned to Tom. Then the next one comes in, it goes to Dick, then it goes to Harry, then Tom, then Dick, then Harry, so on and so forth. And then our slickest one is our workload option. So we'll look at the group of people that has the skill set to fulfill the ticket, and we will find the person with the fewest open tickets. So we'll try to balance the workload there a little bit. All right. Okay. So there's a couple of other cues here that we can see. I'm going to go kindergarten on everyone and read. We've got an unresolved queue if you need to look at all unresolved tickets that are in your group or in your groups that you are members of. You can see solved tickets, ones that are not assigned. If you remember, there were 8 of them. Any requests that I've submitted, the various help desks that I'm a member of. So I'm actually a member of desktop support level 1. And let's see, I wear all kinds of hats. I'm a member of the legal team and IT security and all kinds of cool stuff. Facilities level 2, I'm fixing everything. But I can sort and look at my data in different ways. Now, if these queues are not what you like all the time, if you are a true ITIL shop and you want to see, I want to see all just incidences, okay, not a problem. You can create your own views through our query builder. As I click on this new view, you can say, if a ticket comes in and it's of this attribute, and this, and this, and this, then show me those tickets, group them by this condition, and sort order them by whatever you want. And those will be available in your views area here. So if you are an ITIL shop, I want to see change requests, create a change request view. I want to see problems. I want to see service requests. I want to see just my VIP users, all my executives that are submitting tickets. You can do that as well. Okay, so let's actually look at a ticket and kind of show you what some of the slick features that we have here. I'm going to go into one. This one happens to be a parent ticket or a problem ticket. It has, as we can see over here in this area called relationships, you can see that it is associated with a number of other tickets. So in this particular scenario, we're saying that somebody has reported that the file server's down or email's down. Okay, when those go down, you and I know that at a minimum 15 people are still going to report and say, do you know that the file server's down or email's down, even if you've got those breaking news announcements up there. It's just human nature. So what you can do is you can now link all of these incidences that are associated with this major problem. And then once this major problem has been resolved, you will hopefully solve it, and it will actually take all of the child tickets with it, close them out, and send out the appropriate solution and email notifications. All right. So looking at the anatomy of a ticket from a technician's view, this is why I spent a little bit of extra time in the self-service portal. We got a subject, we've got the service category, service catalog category, a couple of other fields like we had talked about, the body of the ticket. The technician can add a note just as cool and as snazzy as Emma could, paste in that image that I had showed you. Here's that dialogue that we saw. Here, let me move my little menu bar out of the way again there. Here we go. The dialogue that's being taken place between the people on the ticket. Now, what's kind of cool is the yellow backed notes are all internal notes. These are notes that, quote unquote, Emma cannot see, so that you can have your internal conversation between all of your partners that are working on the ticket. We also have canned messages as well. So you could have a whole list of canned messages that are good to go, so you don't have to continue to retype the same thing over and over again. And of course, you could still search the knowledge base and inject knowledge base articles as well. Here's all the participants working on this particular ticket. Again, probably overkill, but that's what we're here to do today, is to show you can't outgrow it. Here's a workstation associated with this particular ticket, and I could come in here and do whatever work I needed on this particular workstation as well. Push out software. I can even uninstall software off of here. If we're not supposed to have Evernote on our workstations, I could uninstall it remotely from here. Now, the cool thing with InvGate Assets as well is, once you've defined your blacklisted software, you can actually set up a task so that it goes out once a day at whatever time and just scrubs all of the blacklisted software off of all of your workstations. So very, very cool. One thing I did want to show you here, a couple of other items within a ticket that are really, really slick. You can change the status. In this case, it's waiting for the customer to respond. I could change it to waiting for the agent. I could say, you know what, I can't do anything on this ticket until ticket number 802 is done. Or, you know what, I had to send this off to Apple for warranty repair. Now, what's cool about this section here is you can stop and start the SLA clock. Now, when does the SLA clock stop? If you want to have fun, go out to an ITSM forum and post that, and watch 14 pages of comments later about when you can and cannot stop an SLA clock. You'll have people just hell-bent on never stopping it, or whatever it may be. And the correct answer is, you know what, you can stop the SLA clock whenever you have, basically, whatever you've agreed upon with your end users. When it's with an end user, and can you stop the SLA clock? I don't know. Is that what your customers allow you to do? Then that's what we do in our system. You will define in the administrative area, when it's in particular statuses, whether the SLA clock stops or not. It's up to you and your customers, you and your end users. Now, here's another slick little item here. This is where you could, let's say you have a disaster recovery that you're doing within a ticket, and you're having to re-image a workstation. Rather than sitting there and watch the meter go to 99% and then sit and not ever reach the 100, and also conversely forgetting 4 hours later that you were reimaging a workstation, what you can do is you can actually tell this ticket, my ticket here, this is one that I'm doing this disaster recovery on. I could say, you know what, in 2 hours, hello, Mr. Ticket, I want you to remind me to look to see if the reimaging process is done. And that's what the ticket will do. It'll ping you in 2 hours. It'll ping you in a week, or it'll ping you in a month, or you can say, I want you to ping me sometime way out here in the future. And the ticket itself will remind you. So very slick. Another cool item that's unique to our system is you can do ad hoc or on the fly or spontaneous approval requests. So if I'm looking at this particular ticket, again, doesn't matter what the content is for today, but I'm looking at this ticket and I'm reading, I'm going, I can't do anything until IT security signs off on this. Maybe it's a create a VPN account for someone. I can go out to these predefined approvals on this side of the screen, and I'll put my mouse there, and I can see I've got all these different predefined approvals already set up. I could ping the purchasing team, but like I said, it's IT security. So I can put on here, boom, IT security, and I can say, hey, IT security, need your blessing on this before I move on. Let me know what's up. Now, IT security could be a group of 20 people, or it could be John. But what it'll do is you can set up your IT security group out there, and you could say, let's pretend there is 20 people in IT security. You can say, you know what, whatever the first, if the first person writes back, yep, you can go ahead and do it, then the approval gets approved, and we will get a notification and we can move on. Or you could say, you know what, it's IT security. They said majority has to rule. So if more than half approve it, then it's good to go. Or what's more likely for IT security is that everyone needs to sign off or something to that effect. So you can certainly do that. But then there's some cases where it's super ad hoc. You're reading it and you're going, you know what? I can't do anything until Martin signs off. So I can just go over here to a specific person. I can find Martin Smart here, and I can say, you know what, hey, Martin, I need you to sign off on this. All right, cool. And Martin, if Martin's not a portal person, no worries. Martin receives an email. It says, you know, whoever this agent is, or maybe it would be me in this case because I'm logged in. Terry wants to know if you'll sign off on this. Here's a link to it. But Martin's like, yeah, I'm not a portal person. So I see these two other links in the email that one says I approve or I reject. And Martin can click on I approve or I reject, and that will cast his vote. Didn't have to go into a ticket. So into the portal. Very, very cool stuff. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to show you really quickly. Wow, trying to cram all this goodness into a very short period of time. I am going to go behind the curtain here to the administrative area because I want to show you our workflow builder. So back in here, we're in the requests area, general configuration, customizations, configuring those approvals I just mentioned. If you're doing time tracking, which I forgot to show you, automations, which is our business rules engine, setting up service level agreements, which is super cool, which we're not going to have enough time today. So much cool stuff, but workflows. All right, I'm going to go to one that's going to hit home with many, many people out there, and we're going to look at a workflow for onboarding a new employee. Let's edit this workflow. When a new employee comes on board, there's 7, 12, 15, 32 different things maybe that happen every time a new employee comes on board. Every time they come on board, the same amount of things need to happen. They need to get done. Sometimes they're cross departments and everything else. So what we did is we built this workflow out here in the system. This is not a Visio document. This is not a PDF. This is living, breathing configuration within InvGate ServiceDesk. And what it is saying here is there is a very first step, which is typically going to be a form for HR to fill out, right? Onboarding a new employee, HR puts all the goodness in about that new employee, their name, their contact information, maybe their emergency contact, next of kin, how many dependents they have for whatever IRS form, and then ask, do they need a laptop or a tablet or a mobile device? Do they need VPN access? Are they remote? Are they contract? Are they full-time? Are they part-time? All that stuff. Now, what's cool about it is there's multiple steps, right? There's multiple people engaged in getting someone, a new employee, up and going. The cool thing is that all that information goes into the beginning of this funnel, if you will, but then you can disseminate that information as needed. For example, when you get to this step, which is security clearance and ID card completion, that whoever's doing that could care less how many kids that new employee has. So when it reaches this step and it reaches Sally or Johnny, it's not going to tell them, you know, here's Jimmy joining the organization. He's got 12 kids. He doesn't care. So you can push that information along. But you know, in this case, this particular step, and I can show you in the configuration side of it, it's actually an API call. So we can actually do a post call out to, in this case, it's out to their HR system to push pieces of that information that HR filled out into this external HR system. And then maybe it goes on to HR for someone there to log all the benefits paperwork. And then you know, it goes on to IT to have multiple things done, create an email address, and then maybe it goes to facilities for someone to configure their office or their cubicle. So this is a very linear example, but you can certainly get more slick with it as I go into, here's another one that I have out here. And it's someone who's requesting a training course, or someone who is requesting the procurement of a laptop maybe. The very first step is going to be a form of some sort that the end user fills out. Hey, I want a new snazzy Galaxy or whatever it is. Then it goes to somebody who needs to define the cost. Once that person defines the cost, it hits a decision point, an automation decision point in here. And what this automation says is, if it's under a certain amount of money, then we're just going to ping that person's direct manager for approval to continue. But if it's over a certain amount of money, we need to go out and get approval from some sort of a financial controller of some sort. And then once we've gone through that, it goes on to this stage and then that step and so on and so forth, and you can get extraordinarily robust with it. I know we're right at our time here. I did want to show you a little bit about our reports really fast, and then we'll open up for some questions. I appreciate everyone hanging in there. I showed you there's a whole list of KPI reports, but I want to show you the custom ones really fast. So I go out here and I want to run some custom reports on our tickets, not on time tracking, not on time intervals, such as how long are tickets sitting in approval status, how long are tickets sitting with agents versus end users. You can report on all that as well. But I just want to do some general ticket one. In this case, what I actually want to do is I want to see how my service level agreements are stacking up against our customer satisfaction. Okay, so I've got a couple of things here. You don't have to have a PhD in Crystal Reports to run reports here in InvGate. I've got a section called measures, and I've got something called columns and rows. And I've got all of these measures. You can probably start to guess what I'm going to be doing here. I can actually say, okay, I want to run a report on requests, so I'm just going to drag requests in there. And now on the fly, I can tell that I've got 860 tickets in the system. Pretty cool, obviously real time, but it's not a whole lot of real good information. So now I'm going to add some dimensions to it. Very different than adding dimensions. Let's see. I said I want. Let's see. I want to look at this by priority. So I'll drag that over here to columns. So now all my stuff's sorted out by priority in the column. So now I can see I got 21 critical tickets. Let's bust this out by my different help desks out there. Like we've got a facilities team, HR team, IT team. We can see IT has 21 critical tickets from just doing this. Now, if tabular format's not exactly what you want, you can go all ferret if you want and choose different graphical formats there. But we're going to stick with this because it's going to work the best. Now, the cool thing is this is still interactive. I can click into IT and I can see my different IT-related teams. Here's IT security, software support, desktop support, so on and so forth. So we can see IT security's got 2 critical tickets. So, but I said I wanted to see how this stacks up against customer sat. All right, well, then let's go to our ratings. We've got a 5-star rating system. I'll pull ratings in here. Boop. Now, in IT security, we had 2 critical tickets, and it looks like we've got a 3.5 out of 5-star rating. Not stellar. So let's drill down a little bit more. Let's see. I want to see how it's stacking up against our SLAs, not our first response SLAs, but our resolution SLAs. And I'm going to pull that in and stack that on top of there. And I want to pick on some people today. So I'm going to go into users, agents, pull my agents in here. Boom. Now this is getting a little tight, so I'll click my handy dandy enlarge button there. Keep your jokes to yourself. And I'll scroll down to IT security. And you remember this is the critical column. And last week we gave Sergio 30 lashes with a wet noodle because he breached all of his SLAs. Now, we can come back here and kind of see, okay, well, what was going on here? Sergio, all right, it looks like you reached 100% capacity of your SLA. 100% capacity of your SLA. 72%, all right, we didn't breach it. That's why you didn't get 50 lashes with a wet noodle. 100% capacity. But as we look now further, got 5 out of 5-star customer sat rating, even though he breached his SLAs. 5.25 out of 5. I'm sorry, 4.25 out of 5. 4.33 out of 5. 4 2/3 out of 5. So it looks like we breached SLA, but we still had awesome customer sat. Well, if we look down here, it looks like Terry used like none of the SLA. It was super quick, but obviously wasn't that great at whatever it was that he did super quick because he got a 3 out of 4-star. 4 out of 4-star. So what we could do now is we could actually examine these tickets. In the interest of time, I'm not going to do it. And maybe you can look at these tickets and go, you know what? They're all related to VPN. And Sergio's not all tooled up and trained up on VPN. So he got good customer sat, but it just took him a lot longer to do it because he had to, either ask somebody or look something up. So totally hypothetical, but it's just here to show you proof of concept of how powerful the reporting tool is itself. and how simple it is to use, but how in-depth you can get with it. So I think what I'm going to do is probably sit here and remember all the things I didn't show you, but I want to open it up to questions. And I'm going to do that. Feel free. Remember, you're probably on mute. So, if you're talking away on mute, which I've never done, feel free to take it off and ask any questions that you might have. And while you're doing that, I'm going to show you one last thing that I forgot, and I'm doing this over here on another monitor and talking really slow while I do it as to stall things out. And I'll bring in this little browser here. All right, I've got a browser here. I've gone off to basically the same deployment as you can see with this particular URL. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little developer kit, and I'm going to turn this sucker into pretending it's an iPhone. Okay, so now we are pretending it's an iPhone, or it could be a Galaxy, it could be Android, it could be whatever you want. The system itself, rather than having to have a native app, it actually is a responsive design, and it will change based on that. Now, what's really cool about it is your end users can actually access it on their mobile as well, so that they could submit a password reset thing through their phone or whatever it may be. Submit a ticket because they're remote at the time and don't have their mobile device or their desktop with them. But from the technician side of things, and before I log in, I want to show you one other thing. Sorry, I told you I'm not scripted. I'm all over the place. We've got this little area right here. I love this thing right here. This is my social stream. This is Terry the technician. This is everything that's happening in my world, not my team's world. Now I can look at all that out on the dashboard. This is stuff that's happening to my tickets, the ones that I'm collaborating on, the ones that I own, and I can get to it really fast. Now, as I mentioned, I'm gonna be receiving email notifications along the way as well, right? But if your inbox is anything like mine, it's a complete and total hot mess. So like I said, we eat our own dog food. When I have a ticket into development to ask about a feature or whatever, I go straight to this, and then I can see what updates to my tickets have happened. So very, very slick. Now, I showed you that because when you first log in through the mobile solution, the first thing it takes you to is that social stream, that Twitter feed, if you will, or that Facebook timeline, to completely exhaust my social media analogies. But I can click on my little menu button here, and I could start a new ticket from here. I can remember I had 2 things that maybe I needed to do. One maybe I needed to approve, and 8 that I needed to assign. I can do all of that from here. I can even go into the knowledge base. I could watch that YouTube video. This is really handy if I'm working remote, solving things from afar. But everything here is just as it seems and as it would be. If I wanted to fault failure, what was it? Printer problem, paper jam. Here I am on my mobile device. It's going to ask me those custom fields, and it's got all of those updates that are in here as well. So you're good to go. Now, keep in mind, if you were on didn't mean to do that. Get out of there, toolbar. If I was on a tablet, it would look like this, right? Phone, tablet. So totally robust mobile solution. And I think from that, a million things I didn't show you, but I did want to open that up to questions. Anyone have any questions for us today? Out there? Everyone awake? Everyone like what they see? I'm going to assume you're saying yes, but just on mute. Excellent. Well, I appreciate everyone letting this run a little bit long. This has been recorded, so we'll get that distributed out to you. Just reach out to your representative if you've got questions. Our representatives are product experts. It's whoever's working with you to learn more about the system is not just somebody that can read off of a 2-page PDF about the system. They know in-depth detail about everything in the system. That's how we roll here. So just let us know what you need. Be sure to get a quote. You're going to be completely blown away. And let us know if you need anything. We're just here to do the right thing, offer an awesome solution at a totally affordable price. And my backup disk is full apparently. But let us know if you need anything. We'll distribute this recording. And everybody have an absolute wonderful day. And we'll talk to you soon. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.